So the question, if you're either you personally or a family member has suffered a traumatic brain injury, how do you go about determining or deciding who is the best attorney to represent me or my loved one? That's an extremely common question that people have all the time. They called our office last week and asked one of our attorneys that question. Here's what our attorney said, and I think it can be helpful to you as well. The number one difference is you want to talk to the attorney or people in the law firm and find out if they really are experts at traumatic brain injury, because, as the attorney explained, the overwhelming majority of even so-called personal injury attorneys are not experts on traumatic brain injury. That's just a fact, okay? They'll have some knowledge, of course, but the difference between knowledge and expertise is almost night and day. And if you talk to them very long, you can quickly tell the difference. So, for instance, our website mentions many very sophisticated tests that you can ask the potential law firm or lawyer and say, hey, are you aware of like the DTI? And of course, what are they going to say? I'm telling you, they'll always say yes while they go Google it, okay? But if you talk to them very much, you can tell, like, oh yeah, they're finding out about this, later than whatever. And but you can ask them specifically and just listen closely to the answer and see if they're really talking from knowledge or just talking from whatever they just read on Google. Why does that make a difference? Because if they don't really understand the latest technology, who's going to suffer? You will, okay? And so we're up on the latest imaging, the latest treatment. You can read about it on our website. And what's shocking to me is not just the fact that most personal injury attorneys are unaware of those things, but you know what's really shocking to me is how many physicians are unaware of those advances. I mean, I was talking to a doctor at lunch the other day, and I mentioned some of these brain scans, such as the DTI, diffuse tensor imaging. And I said, you're aware of it, right? And I nodded my head, and I could see he didn't have any clue what I was talking about. So I started to explain to him. I said, okay, that's okay, what it was all about. And then about another test, the SWI, which tests for residual iron from brain bleeds. He had no clue about that. He'd never heard of it. This is a doctor who takes care of personal injury patients all the time. And then we talked about, I said, at that point, I knew he didn't know about the next one. I said, you probably haven't heard of, quantitative volumetric analysis, which is the short version is NeuroQuant. It's FDA approved. And I knew he didn't know about that one. And so, and sure enough, he didn't. And I told him about how that can measure changes in the volume of the brain, the part of the brain that's been injured. And radiologists, my father was a radiologist, they happen to think that with their eyeballs they can see all these small changes, but there's no way that a radiologist can tell that this part of the brain that got injured is now reduced in capacity 10%. They can't do it, even if they think they can. I'm telling you, they can't. But this is a computerized scan that can make those distinctions. And so we had a situation, and I told the doctor, where a school teacher, she was injured, she had a concussion, we got the right imaging, we proved it, but she wouldn't get any treatment for it. And she said, I'm too busy, I'm just going to suffer with my headaches or whatever. Now, most of our clients will get treatment, but she was like, no, she was too busy. And so we sent her sent her demand into the insurance company, and she had no treatment. Understand this, where normally if you have no treatment, an insurance company offers you pretty close to zero. But in this case, because we proved that she did have a concussion, they said, okay, well, no treatment, but we'll still offer $32,000. And in that case, our client said, well, I'm still having headaches, I'm still suffering, and that's not enough. And I said, well, you could have gone to treatment. But anyway, so we repeated the NeuroQuant, that test that shows whether you have a loss of volume in the brain. And it showed where she was injured, she had a 10% loss. And so we sent that to the insurance adjuster, and they thought, oh my gosh, if in 1 year she lost 10%, in 10 years she's not going to have a brain, which is not how it works. But it scared the adjuster, and they doubled the offer, and we settled the case with no treatment. That doesn't happen very often. And of course, if you get the treatment, then we can get substantially more. So that's what most of our clients do, because they want to get better. They're not too busy to get better. This is their life. And so anyway, and one of the latest exams that we have found very useful is the so-called VNG testing. But we found that there's a very big difference between who does the testing. And so ideally, we get it done through a board-certified neurologist who is Arizona licensed, and he, in his last 18 years, and this is not a mistake when you hear me say this, he has read 100,000 of these VNG exams. That's more than anybody else. So when the insurance company hires somebody, I'm sorry, they're not going to have the same qualifications. And in fact, very commonly, the doctor for the insurance company will admit that there's no way our clients can fake the results. It's just like a broken arm on an x-ray, and we can prove that they suffered a mild traumatic brain injury, and in some cases need rehabilitation, vestibular rehabilitation, for a lifetime. And that can be millions and millions of dollars. So that often gets insurance companies to say, okay, whoa, we only have whatever we have here, 100,000 or 500,000 or a million. You can have it. Now, it doesn't always work that way, but often it does. And if they don't recognize the seriousness, and we need to go to arbitration or whatever's necessary to prove our client's case, we will. So that's what you want to find out. Is the lawyer or law firm you're talking with, are they familiar with these things? I mean, if you're more familiar because you went on our website than they are, that's the wrong law firm. So make sure that you hire a law firm who is really going to help you both get the right diagnosis and the right treatment and the right recovery. Remember, the call is free, the information is free, and that is actually our area of expertise, is traumatic brain injury, as if you couldn't tell. So call us, because if you've suffered a traumatic brain injury, we doubly care about you.